Friend, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Nice seeing each and every one of you. Each and every one of you. On these weekends between I was going to say between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, between Christmas and New Year, who knows what's going to happen in the temple. So it's nice to see everyone. I just want you to know that we almost had one of those technology failures before. I came into the synagogue and I'm supposed to press that panel back there. I don't want to give you the code, but the code is 11111. Real security. I mean, New from Temple. I mean, should we have 222? Now I have to change the code. And I'm not sure who we're protecting the system from, but that's besides the point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones, I can't get into the system. So the first thing that I did was, of course, to contact Chris, and she didn't respond to me, of course. She's gone for the weekend. So one of the things we learned is there are like 4 different pieces of technology in the back, in addition to all the equipment up front. So the technology person took me back there and said, you have to restart one of these things if you have a problem. So I go back there, and what did I do? I turned everything off and turned it back on. And guess what? I solved the problem. The miracle of Hanukkah is over, but it has I know no one's really interested in this story, but I find it, anytime something goes right with the technology, I'm very happy. So hi, I just wanted to share that with you. I shared a little bit of it with you, but now you have a full story to share with the Kansas City community.
We're all grateful you solved the problem.
I was looking for a compliment.
Yes, I'm giving it to you.
And you know
now.
me already, that I'm searching for a compliment, so you gave it to me, and
yes.
now I have nothing more to do tonight. So let's continue in the service on page 6 with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Loachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We are going to continue with the lighting of the Shabbat candles. Glenn, you were one of the first people here. You get the candles. So the story is, if you get here early, you have a chance to light the Shabbat candles. So page 7.
Come, let us welcome Shabbat. May its radiance warm our hearts as we kindle these tapers.
Light is a symbol of God's presence in our lives. The eternal one is our light and our salvation.
Light is the symbol of the holiness within each of us. The human spirit is the light of God.
Light is a symbol of the Torah's teachings, for the commandment is a lamp and the Torah is a light.
Light is the symbol of Israel's mission, as it is written, I have made you a covenant people to serve as a light to the nations.
Therefore, in the spirit of our ancient tradition that hallows unites Israel in all lands and all ages, we kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat, lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We praise our eternal God, creator of the universe, who hallows our lives through laws and ethical teachings. We are mindful of these timeless values as we kindle the lights of Shabbat.
May God bless us with Shabbat joy. May God bless us with Shabbat holiness. May God bless us with Shabbat peace. Amen. We are going to continue in our service. We're doing the 5th service of the month this evening. So we are going to turn to page 99 and let us rise for the Baruch Hu.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם
You may be seated. We praise you, eternal God, creator of the universe, whose laws the shadows of evening fall and the gates of each new day are opened. In wisdom, you have established the change of times and seasons and order the ways of the stars in their heavenly courses. You are the creator of heaven and earth, the source of all life. We praise you for the day in its work and for the night in its rest. Together on page 101. Infinite as is your power, even so is your love. It may be seen through the history of our people Israel, the laws and ethical precepts, through statutes and ordinances. You have led us in the ways of righteousness and brought us to the light of truth. Therefore, our lying down and our rising up, we will meditate on the Torah's teachings, finding within it the inspiration and guidance for our daily lives. May your love never depart from our hearts. We praise you, God. You have revealed your love through our people, Israel. We continue with Ahavat Olam.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת.
continue on page 102 with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam, Leolam Vaed. And you shall love Adonai, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be upon your heart, shall be upon your heart. You shall teach them diligently unto your children. You shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up. You shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a symbol before your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, and on your gates. You may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
On page 105, let us read responsively. The eternal truth is that we worship only one God, and there is none else. Great deeds God has wrought on our behalf, and wonders without number. The Eternal One was with us during the long years of oppression. Our faith sustained us even when our people suffered the deepest anguish. May God's ways guide the lives of all people and unite our hearts in friendship. We continue with Mi Chamocha, page 105.
No
the middle of page 106. O God, help us to find meaning in our hopes, our struggles, and our strivings. Without the sense of your presence, we would feel lost and empty. When all else fails us, we turn to you in the stillness of the night, when the outer darkness enters the soul, in the press of the crowd, when we walk alone, though yearning for companionship, and when in agony we are bystanders to our own confusion, we look to you for hope and peace. Together, we do not ask for a life of ease, for happiness without pain or disappointment. Instead, we ask for you to teach us to be uncomplaining and unafraid. In our darkness, help us to find your light. In our loneliness, may we discover that many spirits are akin to our own. Give us strength to face the future with hope and courage, so that even from life's discords and conflicts, we may draw blessing. Make us understand that we are called on not only to enjoy the richness of the earth, but to exalt in heights attained by the toil of climbing. Let our darkness be dispelled by your love, that we may rise above fear and failure, our steps sustained by faith. You give meaning to our lives. You are support and our guide. We continue with Vishamru. Let us rise for the tefillah on page 108.
Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham.
seated. We continue on page 109. Our God and God of our fathers, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, a heritage has come down to us through the long journey our people have traveled. Our God and God of our mothers, God of Sarah, Rebekah, Leah, and Rachel, a great legacy has been passed down to us. When others worship gods indifferent to goodness, our mothers and fathers turn to the one whose laws unite all people in justice and love. When acknowledged, our sages open their doors to all who wrought understanding. In a world where the weak were tormented by oppressors, our Torah taught us to love the poor and the stranger.
Where the sword was sovereign, we were taught to seek peace and pursue it.
All this is now ours. Ours the teaching, ours the task, to make our heritage live.
For it is our life and the length of our days.
Page 110. Together, infinite is your power, O God. Great is your gift of life. In loving kindness you sustain the world. Through the endless flow of your blessings you preserve all of creation. You uphold the falling and heal the sick. Free the captive and give faith with your children in death as in life. Who is like you, author of life and death? By your will and our good shall prevail. We praise you, God, the source of eternal life. We continue on page 111. You are with us in our prayer, in our love, and even in our doubts, in our longing to feel your presence and to do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, when doubts trouble us, when anxiety makes us tremble, and pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answers to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. May our worship bring us closer to one another, so that together we may be strengthened in our devotion to you. Together, our God and God of our mothers and fathers, grant that our worship on this Sabbath may be acceptable to you. Sanctify us through your precepts that we may share in the blessings of the Torah. Help us to be satisfied with the gifts of your goodness and grateful for all that you bestow. Purify our hearts that we may serve you in truth. May we preserve Shabbat as our people's heritage from generation to generation, that it will ever bring rest and joy, peace and comfort to our lives. We praise the eternal God who sanctifies Shabbat. Page 113. Bless all who have gathered here. May our worship be worthy of your greatness and your love, that all who seek your presence may find it here for the joy of community, the gifts of human diversity, and the vision of universal harmony. We offer our grateful thanks. Together, bless our nation and its inhabitants. Inspire us to pursue only the worthiest of endeavors. Be with us who choose to lead us, that they may strive to establish justice and opportunity for all. May they labor to bring peace to the family of nations. Bless the entire household of the people of Israel wherever we dwell. May you find rest in the land and its diverse people and faith communities. Protect Israel against hatred and war. Grant that the promise of its rebirth soon may be fulfilled in peace and harmony. Be with us here where we worship you in freedom. May those who continue to live under oppressed conditions soon find release and liberty. We continue with Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasi Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasi Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lecha hashalom.
Friends, let's continue in some moments of private reflection and devotion. Friends, let's turn back in our Cedar Ream to page 10 as we continue with prayers for those who are ill. And as is our custom, if you'd like to share a name with our congregation this evening, of someone you're praying for and thinking about or worried about, I ask you to do so. Let me start over here, work my way over. Anyone? Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Let's continue with Misha Berach in the middle of page 10.
May the source of strength
Friend, Shabbat Shalom again to you. And I meant what I said. Every one of you is very special to me tonight. And if you come next week, I'm going to say the same thing. If you came last week, I'd say the same thing, because you are. Without you being here, there's no service, and so you're keeping things going, and I appreciate it, and I think the Jewish people appreciate it. In moments of hardship and crisis, it's not always easy to hold our dignity. When we do that, we are showing extraordinary courage and nobility. A story is told by Rabbi Shlomo Riskin, who was the Misadir Kedushin at our wedding, the person who officiated at Jane and I when we got married many years ago. And Rabbi Riskin spoke about the dignity and nobility of his sextant in his former congregation, Lincoln Square Synagogue. The sexton's name was Gedalia Klein, and I just have to clarify what a sexton is. In the Hebrew, it's called Gabbai, and it's a person who assists in the running of the synagogue service. The role may be undertaken on a voluntary basis. A sextant in Hebrew is the person who kind of makes things happen. Sometimes we call them the shamas. They're just the person who kind of makes things happen. They light, if there's yurtzeit lights, they light it. If the Torah needs to be rolled, they roll the Torah. When I was a kid in Troy, New York, we'd come to religious school and we'd have milk and cookies. He'd put the milk and cookies out, but my mother never allowed me to have the milk and cookies. That explains a lot about me. We'll get into why she didn't, but that's not for Shabbat. So Mr. Klein, Rabbi Riskin Sexton, was in a Nazi forced labor camp. And he often was the prisoner's representative, and he often confronted the Germans, the German overseers exercising their twisted version of justice. Now, what distinguished Mr. Klein from other prisoners was his determination to seek justice even in living hell. He would look his guards in the eye and in no uncertain terms let them know that what he thought of their particular ruling. And there was kind of really arbitrary torture. And we can talk about it and you can read about it. It's horrific. And one day, a guard said to him, "Jew, who do you think you are? Aren't you afraid that at any moment I could kill you as easily as a fly?" Mr. Klein answered without hesitation, "In your army, the army of the Third Reich, you may be a lieutenant. But in my army, the army of God, I am a general." Is that incredible? Let me read that again. In your army, the army of the Third Reich, you may be a lieutenant. But in my army, the army of God, I'm a general. That is faith. That is chutzpah. That is holiness. What was he really trying to say? Not that the Jews were powerful, but that all people, regardless of their circumstances, were bestowed by God with a sense of human dignity and worth, which is absolute, which is unbreakable. No mortal, no matter how powerful, can take that away. And it doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter. We all have this absolute, unbreakable sense of human dignity and worth. It is really an application of the insight of Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor, who says, this is an incredibly often quoted statement, but it's worth stating many times, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. In any situation, we define the rules of the moment. We determine where we stand, who we are, what we believe. No one can take that away from us. And this idea is illustrated in the Torah in a very interesting insight if you read the Torah literally and not read it by translation. We have the aging patriarch Jacob is brought by Joseph to meet Pharaoh of Egypt. Pharaoh is the ruling monarch of the world, really, whose subjects hail him as God in human form. The story is extremely dramatic. Joseph, the great-grandson of Abraham, is a simple shepherd, saves the world from hunger by becoming the second most powerful Egyptian leader. And when Pharaoh learns that Joseph has a father in Canaan, his response is amazingly gracious. You know, when we read the book of Exodus, Pharaoh is the worst person in the world. But in the book of Genesis, a different Pharaoh has a certain sense of kindness, of compassion. Listen what he says. He hears that Joseph has a father. The news reached Pharaoh's palace. Joseph's brothers have come. And Pharaoh and his courtiers were pleased. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Say to your brothers, do as follows, load up your beast and go at once to the land of Canaan. Take your father in your households and come to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you shall live off the fat of the land." Pharaoh says, "Come on down. I'm going to treat your family and the Israelites as honored guests. No one will be treated better." The moment arrives for Joseph to introduce his father. An old, supposedly unsophisticated Hebrew man to Pharaoh. I think of this like old Jewish guy eats knishes all day. But that's not Jacob. That's not Jacob. He's this older man. And it's not hard to imagine that Joseph is nervous. What will Pharaoh think of him? And the Torah tells us what transpires. Joseph brought his father and presented him to Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, "How old are you?" And Jacob replied, "My journey through life has lasted 130 years. And the days of my life have been few and hard. I did not live as long as my father did in the days of their journeys." And with that, Jacob blessed Pharaoh again and left his presence. Let's go back to the second verse that I read. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Now, what's going on here? Certainly, Joseph had warned his father, "You are meeting the most powerful man in the world. Everyone thinks he's God. Can you go along with this?" Jacob, the old man, is not impressed. He's not impressed with the court. He's not impressed with the majestic display of regality. And even before Pharaoh has a chance to acknowledge this shepherd, Jacob blesses Pharaoh. Pharaoh hasn't even said a word, and Jacob blesses Pharaoh. Jacob wants Pharaoh to know up front. Maybe Egyptians think that he is their God. But Jacob is the son of Abraham and Isaac, and it is through them that all the nations will be blessed. Jacob is a general in the army of God. Now, we live in a world where we are impressed by power and might and fame. Our young people look at sports figures and actors and hip-hop musicians as godly. Now, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm getting at. They are role models, but are they really? The Generation Z, who's a Generation Z here? Veronica, I don't even think, are you? No, your generation, she's Generation Alpha. You should be proud of your alphahood. I have no idea what it means, but take it as a compliment. So the Generation Z takes social media influences seriously. Through their artificial fame, these influencers affect the purchasing decisions of their followers. The more followers, the more influence. I don't understand influencers. I'm just reporting to you. It makes absolutely no sense. But people listen to them because they have followers. And they have power because they have followers. It makes no sense. Now, some Americans today pledge allegiance to politicians who convince them that they have unique powers to fix society. Thus, their power comes from the leader, not the other way around. We anoint people as secular messiahs instead of questioning their so-called wisdom. And we adults and we Jews and everybody else are victims to this. People like to hobnob with the rich and famous and to dream what it would be like to be like them. For example, many of us would like to have lunch with Warren Buffett. How many people would like to talk to Warren Buffett? I would. But I have to tell you, he loves McDonald's and drives a 2001 Lincoln Town Car. He's not a god. He's a very smart man, but he's not God. So what do we learn from Jacob? That each of us has nobility and dignity, and given to us by God that ennobles us and tells us that we can stand up to any even self-created gods. They can be German overseers or Egyptian pharaohs or social media stars. Judaism's message is rooted in a deep humanism. We are all kings and queens. We all have unique value, all our own. It's this unique spirit that each of us are by definition part of an elite because we are created in the image of God. Everyone is human. No one is better than anyone else. All of us have equivalent value, rights, and responsibilities. Jacob offers an incredible roadmap to self-affirmation. May this message of human dignity and infinite worth of all of us inspire us. Each of us is important and powerful, and we need to claim it. Shabbat Shalom. Let us continue in our service as we turn to page. We got to turn to a special page. Bobby, what page do we turn to?
368.
I am so glad you're back. You know, I'd be paging through this thing for hours. Okay, page 368, let us rise for the adoration.
Let us adore the ever-living God. We offer praise unto you, who spread out the heavens and established the earth. Your glory is revealed in the heavens above, and your greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else. Va'anachnu kore'im umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
You may be seated. Let's read together on page 369. May the time not be distant, O God, when you shall be worshipped throughout the earth, when unbelief shall disappear and error be no more. Fervently we pray that the day may come when all people shall be guided by your teachings. Corruption and evil shall give way to purity and goodness. Superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. Then all who dwell on earth shall know that to you alone every knee shall bend and every voice give praise. May all created in your image recognize that we are brothers and sisters, so that one in spirit and one in harmony be forever united before you. Then shall your reign be established on earth, and the word of your ancient prophet be fulfilled. The eternal God will reign forever and ever. On that day the eternal shall be one, and God's name shall be one.
Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Friends, at this time we recall the yurt sites that are part of the permanent memory of our community. Ruth Baum, Alvin Berlau, Donald Galamba, Harriet Miller Goldstein, Edward Hoffman, Laura Katz, May Miller, Jimmy Nachman, Jean Louis Rubenstein, Stephen Schwartz, Elaine Stern, Regina Strauss, Catherine Trenton, and Lily Rose Weil. In solemn testimony to that unbroken faith that links the generations of the house of Israel one to another, we rise and join together in reciting the Mourner's Kaddish, page 375. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'yama divrach hirutei v'yamlich machutei, b'chayechon uvyamechon uvchayedecho beit Yisrael, Bagalav Isman Kari V'Yimru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mivarach Li'olam Omei Amaya. Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitpa'ar V'Yitramam V'Yitnaseh V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalal Shmei Dekudashah Barichu. Leila Menko Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechamata Damiran B'Yama V'Yimru Amen. Yehi Shlema Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chayim Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. May the one who causes peace to reign in the high heavens let peace descend on us and all Israel and all the world, and let us say Amen. Please be seated. Our Bima flowers are dedicated in memory of Alvin Berlau by Charles Berlau, in memory of May Miller and Harriet Miller Goldstein by Linda and Michael Browdy, and in memory of Elaine Stern by Susan Strauss. Want to make mention of a young family service on Friday, January 20th at 5 to 6:30 p.m. And it's for members of our religious school community. Also want to mention that something really good is happening. In February 10th, we just arranged that there are 4 kids in our community who went on this wonderful program, that's scholarship by, I think, the Da Vinci family, to bring teenagers to the Holocaust Center in Washington. We have 4 of our students who went, and on, make sure I'm doing the right date. February 10th, right, February 10th. We are going to, they're going to be here, and we're going to have like a little conversation where they can share with us what they learned. And they've already shared it with our confirmation class, and the kids are incredibly articulate. And I think you're going to enjoy hearing them. And if you're really nice, we might allow you to ask a question. But I told them we weren't going to put them on the spot, so I'm not sure what the format's going to be, but we will hear wonderful things from them. I just want to also mention something that happened today that I was thinking about. You know, someone left a message saying they're a member of a Roman Catholic church around here. I forget which one. And they said that this woman who she hasn't gotten back to me, said, I want my group to come to see you, to visit the synagogue. And it was interesting. How do we arrange it? Is it permitted? I'm thinking to myself, this is such an interesting conversation. We don't permit people who are not Jewish to come to services? Isn't that interesting? And it's almost like a fear that they wouldn't be welcome. And that makes me a little uncomfortable. Why would anyone not feel that if they wanted to come to worship and they were here with good intentions, that we wouldn't want them, or for any of us to go to any other religious institution and say, I want to visit, and feel unwelcome. It's a very interesting thing. I'm thinking about it, and I'm not sure what to make of it, but it kind of bothered me that was a sense. Now, obviously, we're very concerned about people who come. We're very security conscious. But a church group asking that if they needed permission to come, found that. Do you know what I'm saying? What do you make of that? Someone say something. What do you make of that? Are you getting what's up? It's not upsetting me. It's just something's not right. But okay, a lot of things aren't right. But
They thought we weren't welcoming.
yeah, no, but that. No, of course, John, you're absolutely right. But where does one get a message like that? No, you're right. But where does one get a message like that in our world?
Some sects of Christianity don't allow outsiders into their worship services.
There is. Okay. So, but certainly not the Roman Catholic Church. But you're, so what? But they're okay. Accepted.
Catholics used to be prohibited from going to services for any of them.
Who was?
Catholics.
They were forbidden to come to a service. Isn't that interesting?
I've got one also. My father was a Finnish Lutheran, and he grew up in a community where there were Finns and Swedes. And the Swedish Lutherans had their church, and the Finns had their church. And whenever he wanted to hide from his brothers, he would go to the Swedish Lutheran church and hide there because he knew
That they wouldn't come.
would not dare go in there.
You know what it's like? You know what it's like, and then we have to conclude the service before the new year. Okay, but it's interesting that that's the way it was. I know it was this way in Kansas City, that the German Jews and the Ashkenazic Jews, there was a different pattern there. There was a different sense of status and culture. Now, when we tell our kids about that, they say, "What are you talking about?" But you go back a generation or go back 2 generations, that was a real issue. And read the story of American immigration. I mean, 19th century German Jews, all these very wealthy Jews, they're very ambivalent about welcoming in the Ashkenazic Jews. But that's a whole other topic. So let's continue with, we can go on. Page 429, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, 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 ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone and a happy secular new year.
I can't believe she thought like they might not be welcome.
I don't know what, you have no idea the phone calls I get.
Oh,
It's weird.
that is weird.
I was,
I would want to
I gotta
ask
turn
her.
up. Come here for a second. Interesting. fraternity school.
Yeah.
They were. I don't know if you were part of it. Yes, it was. No, they had these very beautiful, gigantic fraternity houses. All very